Good morning, dear students of the vibrant University of Bohol. I am your teacher for today, Miss Delvin Rose Calyago, and I will be teaching you about science. But what exactly is our topic today in science? So let me give you a clue, dear students. It has something to do about women, and this thing happens every month, almost every 28 days in women. Do you have any idea what it is? Yes, it is the menstrual cycle, or what we call the menstruation. But we're gonna talk and we're gonna describe the menstrual cycle in 13 steps. So let's get started. In every phase, there are key terms that you need to remember in order to know the 13 steps in the menstrual cycle. So let's get first with the menstrual phase. In the menstrual phase, the shedding of the uterine lining occurs. So the period or the menstruation begins as the thickened uterine lining, remember the uterine lining, or the endometrium, that is the thick lining of the uterus, breaks down and exits the body through the vagina. Okay? And then after that, the hormone levels get low. So the estrogen and the progesterone levels are at their lowest. That's the key word. They get at their lowest. They trigger, and because of the triggering, they shed. After that, the follicular growth begins. So what happens to this part? So the brain releases follicle stimulating hormone, or the so-called FSH, signaling the ovaries to start maturing new egg follicles. Did you get all of those? Okay, so let's move on to the second phase. Again, the second phase is what we call the follicular phase. In the follicular phase, the follicle development happens. So several egg follicles in the ovaries starts to grow, but only one. That one egg is what we call the dominant follicle, and it will fully mature. So the second thing that happens in this phase is the estrogen releases. So the dominant follicle releases estrogen, which helps rebuild the uterine lining. Again, it helps rebuild the uterine lining. After that, the endometrium, or the uterus lining, next part is that the endometrium thickens. So again, the lining of the uterus is called the endometrium. The uterus starts preparing for a possible pregnancy by regenerating the endometrium lining. So it thickens. That's a key word. So our second to the last phase is the ovulation. So what happens in this phase? So first thing that happens is the LH surge. LH is known as the luteinizing hormone. So during this, a sudden increase in luteinizing hormone, or the LH, caused the mature follicle to release an egg. And then after that, the egg releases. The egg travels from the ovary into the fallopian tube, where it may meet sperm and be fertilized. After that is the fertile window. So what happens in this part is, this is the most fertile time of the cycle, which is a few days before and after ovulation. So our last, but not the least, phase is the luteal. So first thing that happens in this is the corpus luteum form. What happens in them? The empty follicle transforms into the corpus luteum, which produces progesterone to maintain the uterine lining. After that, the progesterone rises. What happens if the progesterone rises? If fertilization occurs, the uterus stays prepared for implantation. After that, if there is no pregnancy, what will happen? Of course, the hormone will drop. If the egg is not fertilized, progesterone and estrogen levels drop. Again, it drops. When there is no pregnancy, the hormone drops. And then after that, the cycle repeats. It repeats again after 28 days. So the uterine lining starts to break down again, leading to menstruation, and the cycle repeats. So, dear students, that's everything you have to know about menstrual cycle. Learning about it is very helpful, especially to women and girls, teenagers out there, because menstruation is something that will occur and will occur for a very long time. So it is a must for us to learn in order to be aware of the changes, the development of our body. I hope you learned something today. Again, I am Miss Devlin Rose Galyogo, your teacher in science for today. Thank you.